Hello, I'm Langston and I'm back on my channel, Gymlandia. Today I'm going to be giving y'all a very special video. I'm going to be talking about the power ranking for the team finals. I used to do one of these videos. I did a power ranking for who would make the team. So everyone got injured, but now I'm going to be making a power ranking on who's most likely to win gold, silver, and bronze in the team finals and, analyzing it. So I'm only going to be focusing on four countries today. I'll be talking about some other little minor ones, and I'm only going to be focusing on the big contenders. But anyway, we're going to get straight into it. So anyway, I'm back and let's talk about the four contenders. So in my opinion, obviously the favorite for gold is the USA. Like despite USA's issues, they did have some struggles in podium training. They have a big, pretty sizable advantage. The biggest advantage they're starting with is we're talking about on vault, right? So on vault, they have Jordan, they have Jade, they have Simone. That's by far the greatest vault rotation that any country can put up. We're talking about a world silver medalist, a world champion, and an Olympic champion on vault, times two world championship titles in that event. So when you're adding that to the equation, like that's a lot of success to bring to one apparatus. We're talking about at least two chains and potentially DTY. I have had words that Jordan Childs is trying to attempt the chain, but we did not see that. And Jordan kind of pissed me off because it's like if you're gonna do all this running to the vaulting table, you don't do all this running to do a Lopez. Like she was charging the vaulting table, gaining all that momentum just to do a Lopez. Like if you're gonna charge the vaulting table, you need to charge to stand on business. But that's a topic for another discussion. But regardless, like they have the Queen of Caucasia, Lord of the 50 States of America, Puerto Rico, Guam, and the District of Columbia. Okay. They have her out here. They also have Simone Biles, the greatest of all time, and that translates to floor as well. The Olympic champion, two Olympic champions on floor, and a world silver medalist. So on vault and floor, USA has a huge advantage over everyone else. On beam and bars is tricky. So on bars, they did hit, but they're going to be relying a lot on Simone and Suni. Jordan Childs and Hesley Rivera could put up decent scores on bars if they hit. On beam, there was a lot of struggles. They need Suni to hit her beam routine because Suni and Simone have by far the highest scoring potential. Hesley Rivera can also put up a decent score on beam, but that's if she does. But despite this, like they still need some major errors, some major mistakes, in my opinion, to come up losing the gold. Like they need a lot of falls. And as of now, I don't think that's the most likely scenario. So in my opinion, I think USA is the favorite for gold. It's going to be very interesting to see who qualifies to all these events. Moving on to Moving on to number two in the power rankings, in my opinion. And number two in the power rankings, in my opinion, is Brazil. And I do want to say that Brazil has a lot of weaknesses on bars in particular. Like bars is really what's holding Brazil back. I do want to say that Lorani Oliveira is starting to improve on bars. Obviously, we know Flavia has made some improvements in the last couple of years. Rebecca is very inconsistent on bars, but if we can get Rebecca to do one of her best routines, we can count like a 14-6, 14-7 from them. Plus, two mid to high 13s from Flavia and Lorani, which isn't that bad of a rotation. And their beam relies a lot on Flavia and Rebecca hitting, as well as Julia Soares standing on business. Last year, Julia Soares fell on beam, I believe, in the team final. So we want to see some improvements on that. Vaught and Flo are pretty decently strong rotations for them. Like they have Rebecca's Chung. They also have Rebecca and Flavia, two world medalists on floor, as well as from last year. So their floor and vault rotations are pretty good. And they have a lot more balance across all the events. I believe Rebecca's getting ready to clear house. I feel like Rebecca's getting ready to let them hoes know, bruh. Like, and I'm really rooting for Rebecca. I want the absolute best for her. I love me some Rebecca Andrade over here. It's all black girl Brazilian magic. I need Lorani to stand on business too. I need her to let the black peoples in Brazil know what it is, okay? But anyway, I do want to say I'm very over the white Brazilians and just the people in general that want to like start beef between Rebecca and Simone. I understand competitive, like being competitive, like obviously it's natural to root for someone from your country, but the racist shit I see y'all saying about black people, It's some shit that I really noticed. Like I see what the fuck y'all have to say, and it's very frustrating. I hate people who engage in using black women to tear down other black women. That is just something I can't tolerate. So I had to address that shit here. I addressed it last year at the World Championships. You're never gonna hear me really come out the mouth sideways about no black girl from no other country. I am gonna call black people out. Okay, I've called Simone Biles out for doing coon shit. I've called Rebecca out for her bullshit. Rebecca's out here trying to do a whip to a chuso. Like, be so for real right now. With 3 ACL tears, like, I'm gonna call people out. I'm gonna call Gabby out for being, in my opinion, quitting. Right? I'm pretty fair when it comes to, despite me being pro black, I'm gonna be pro black for everybody. But it's very frustrating seeing that kind of rhetoric being shown in that light, in my opinion. Moving on to moving on to number three in the power rankings. And number three in the power rankings, in my opinion, is China. So China, they did have some struggles on bars and beam, which is their, China needs to hit bars and beam to be competitive. That's their only place where they're gonna really do well. Vault floor is very weak for them. Chu Chi Yuan and Zhou Yuqin is gonna be who's gonna really be leading China to success. They need Zhou Yuqin's very good floor and beam scores. They need Chu Chi Yuan's very good bars and beam scores as well. And they do have a double twisting Sukahara from one of their new gymnasts they just brought. They brought Lohan. This is a very big thing for China to have a gymnast that's, kind of um, in their 20s. I think she's the oldest gymnast to ever represent China at the Olympic Games. So that's a very good thing for Lohan. Chow, you know how Oyushan be fucking around. So we need to see Oyushan stand on business. She looked pretty solid on floor. I know she was having some issues early this week with maybe like a minor injury or et cetera, but she seems to rebounded back from that. So we're gonna see what China does this upcoming qualifications. But as of now, I placed him as third in the power rankings. Their bars and beam is rotation is very strong. And I realistically think that could carry them. They've improved on vault and floor from last year, but obviously have they improved enough? But I still think they have an advantage over number four in the power rankings, which is Italy. And number four in the power rankings, Italy. Italy, I think, they have a very good chance of winning, but Italy has a history of peaking at Euros and not standing on business when a real competition matters, like the Olympics or the World Championships. And for Italy, they don't really have too many star athletes. Like Manila Esposito is pretty good on beam. She can put up a decent score on bars. Alicia Di Matteo could put up a really good score on bars if she hits, right? Like Georgia Vila could put up a pretty solid score on beam, as well as also decent on floor, as well as Alyssa Arario as well. But for the most part, like they don't really have any huge scores to say where Brazil has Rebecca Andrade, China has Chu Chi Yu and Zhou Yuqin, the USA has Simone Biles, Suni, Jade, right? They don't really have that, from any of their gymnasts. They have some pretty average scoring gymnasts, but they don't really have no gymnasts that's gonna score no 57 or score no 15 on an event, right? And that's something that's kind of like holding them back, in my opinion. But something that Italy does have is Italy has a lot of consistency. Like Italy doesn't really have a huge weakness compared to China being very weak on vault and floor, compared to Brazil being very weak on bars. Italy doesn't really have that. So I do think Italy has a pretty sizable chance, in my opinion. But as of now, we need to see it to believe it, okay? But anyway, that's all I have for my four big contenders. I think USA, Brazil, China, Italy, in that order. Those are going to be the main contenders for a team final medal going up. Next, we have France, and this is France's home Olympics. So France gonna try to turn up, but they need a lot of falls, a lot of mistakes to get up there. France is gonna have a very strong vault rotation. They have two Rudies as well as Melody Jesus dos Santos is excellent DTY. But all the other events, they're somewhat weak. Like they have Melanie's good scores on the other events, but besides, they didn't really have too much. I will say they have Melanie and Marie Boyer on beam, which is pretty decent, but for the most part, they're really lacking scoring potential. I think the judges might help them, but I don't think they can be able to help them enough to get a medal without some major mistakes from the other four big contenders. Great Britain, child, like Great Britain, the UK, they got the Fowler and the Fowler, Becky and Georgia May, and we need to see Becky and Georgia May stand on business, which is something we have yet to see. If we see that, we can start talking about something. But until then, I'm gonna take it with a grain of salt. Obviously, there's a lot more other competitors, but those are the main ones, in my opinion, that I see realistically factoring in. Thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. Please like, comment, subscribe down below. I'm gonna be giving y'all power rankings throughout like the week. I'm gonna be giving y'all like some little breakdown videos. I'm gonna really start standing up business this upcoming week when it comes to giving y'all content. Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning into this video. Please go check out the teaching gymnastics to Black folks, about what I talked about, intro to gymnastics, teaching y'all how VOT works, as well as my recent live I did a couple days ago. I'm sorry, yesterday, about who is most likely, about like predictions about what we expect from this upcoming Olympics and etc. Anyway, thank you guys so much for tuning in. Please like, comment, and subscribe down below. Make sure you have a nice day, you guys. Goodbye.